What's up everyone, back for another beer haul, and in today's beer haul, I will be showing you the beers that I recently picked up on a day trip to Ohio. So the Friday before New Year's, my father, his girlfriend, and myself, we all decided to take a quick day trip to Ohio, and more specifically, Wadsworth, Ohio, because there was a family in Wadsworth that had a Christmas light display that replicated the Griswold's house from the iconic Christmas movie, National Lampoon's A Christmas Vacation. We all love that movie, and my dad saw a news story on this house a couple days beforehand, and we were just like, you know what? Let's make the trip and check it out in person. Now, Wadsworth, Ohio is about 3.5 hours from Buffalo, and it's a 7-hour round trip. So we're like, you know what, we're gonna do it on Friday and check it out. Now, the trip itself, obviously not a beer related or beer focused. However, when in Ohio, I like to stop at least one beer store to check out what they have, because Ohio has a vastly different distribution than we have here in the Buffalo, New York area. So I popped into Red Wine and Brew in Mentor, Ohio, one of my favorite bottle shops whenever I'm passing through and like going to Cleveland. And been there plenty of times before, and they always have a great selection of beer. So I picked up these 10 beers here in front of you. Now, I would have picked up probably 5 to 10 more. I have a bunch of beer in the fridge from prior beer mails and shelfie beers that I picked up this month, also local beers I picked up this month. So I didn't want to go too crazy. I just picked up a lot of beers that I thought sounded quite good and that I can't get my hands on here in the Buffalo, New York area, except for one beer. And as you can tell by the title of this beer haul, a lot of these, the vast majority, are barrel-aged beers. So without any further ado, let's go over them. So the first beer here is, it's a little bit of story time for this one, but it's from Wolf's Ridge Brewing, and they're out of Columbus, Ohio, and this is their Daybreak. So this is a coffee vanilla cream ale. It comes in at 5% alcohol by volume. They also have the IBUs listed, which is cool. 14 IBUs, and this was canned on October 11th of 2023. Now, why I'm saying this is funny, this beer itself and story time and whatnot, is I don't have like an official beer bucket list. I've never sat down and compiled a beer bucket list. So here's my question to you. Do you think a live stream would be a lot of fun as I sit back and kind of create a beer bucket list on a live stream? You guys could join along and tell me what beers are on your bucket list. Do you think that would be a good live stream, or do you think that'd be better for just like a pre-recorded video like this one? Let me know, post in the comment section. I've always wanted to compile a beer bucket list, but I've never sat down and just been like, let's do it. And the reason why I say that is because this would be on my beer bucket list, and that might sound crazy to some of you out there, especially if you're in Ohio. However, I saw this one reviewed back in 2016 by a friend of mine and former beer tuber, Johnny of the now defunct Crafty Beer Reviews. He was loving this one, and I'm a sucker for cream ales, whether it's your cheaper macro cream ale like Genesee Cream Ale, or your craft cream ales that have adjuncts like this one. I love trying them. So I remember him reviewing this one in 2016 and really enjoying it. And I've always wanted to try this one. They have a base cream ale, I think, called Clear Sky. They do some other variants like a cinnamon toast crunch variant. They have an orange creamsicle variant, but this one has always been the one I wanted to try. And lucky for me, they had a can of it. So I picked it up, and I cannot wait to get in this one. Like I said, a lot of you folks that watch the channel in Ohio, you're probably like, what? Yeah, no, I want to try this one. I'm not expecting the world out of this one, but I want to try it, so we're going to do it. So the next 3 beers are actually from non-Ohio based breweries, but I wanted to pick them up for different reasons. So the first one here is from Prairie Artisan Ales, and they are out of Krebs, Oklahoma, and this is their Maple Bourbon Barrel Paradise. And this is the 2023 release. So this is an Imperial Stout aged in maple bourbon barrels with coconut and vanilla. Comes in at 14.3% alcohol by volume. Forgot to show you the label for the Daybreak, but pretty simplistic. And this was relatively cheap too. This was like $2 a can. So I'd imagine like 6 packs of this are probably like $11 or something. Anyway, so I picked this one up not because I can't get Prairie here. We get a lot of Prairie stuff here in the Buffalo, New York area. However, I have not seen this one yet. And when I was at the local beer store yesterday, I did not see this one. So I picked this one up just because I wanted to make sure I got a chance to try it. I love maple in imperial stouts, whether it's actual maple or an aged maple bourbon barrels. So I want to try this one out. I haven't had anything off the top of my head from their Paradise series. At least I haven't reviewed anything. And it's been a while since I reviewed a barrel-aged prairie beer. So we are going to definitely review this one without question. And I'm looking forward to it. So we will see how that one is. Next, we have a beer from a brewery that totally doesn't get distribution here in the Buffalo, New York area. It's from the Maplewood Brewing Company. They're out of Chicago, Illinois. And this is their Juice Pants. So this is an IPA that comes in at 7% alcohol by volume. They actually say on the back here for details on the pants, visit juicepants.com. I'm going to have to do that. And this one was canned on 11/14/2023. This one was bottled on 11/1/2023. So this, you know, almost 3 months old. This is a couple months old. This is just over 6 weeks old. I'll be getting to this one hopefully relatively soon. I'll try to get it, you know, get to before the 2-month mark. But anyway, I picked this one up because, again, we don't get Maplewood here in the Buffalo, New York area at all. And I've had one beer from Maplewood sent to me courtesy of a good friend of mine and viewer of the channel, Kenny. It was their Wild Idaho Nights. It was really, really good. So I kind of remembered that one. And yeah, I'm going to give it a go. So the next beer and the final non-Ohio-based brewery beer comes from the AleSmith Brewing Company out of San Diego, California, and this is their classic and iconic Speedway Stout. So this is Imperial Stout with coffee, comes in at 12%, and this one was canned on September 20th of 2023, so not super fresh, just under, what is that, just under 4.5 months old or so. So not super fresh or anything, but I've had this one, you know, fresh, aged, and whatnot. But here's the thing. We used to get a lot of AleSmith here in the Buffalo, New York area. I haven't seen them in many, many years. The last time I saw an AleSmith beer, they were in the big 750 milliliter bottles. You know, you had the foil that went over the cap down the neck, and that's the last time I had this beer was in one of those bottles. So when I saw this in the cooler, and it was $3.60, you bet your bottom dollar I'm picking it up. Plus, I recently reviewed one of the barrel-aged variants, their Vietnamese coffee with a vanilla edition, which I loved. A little heavy-handed on the vanilla, but I did love. And I said in that review that if I could get my hands on a can of the base, I would, and I would review it, and we did that. Moving on. So the last 6 beers are from 2 breweries, 2 Ohio-based breweries, that is, that are some of my favorite in Ohio. Period. They're 2 breweries that are kind of known for their barrel-aged beers and kind of known for just making good beer, in my opinion. And they're all barrel-aged, much like this Prairie beer. They're all barrel-aged, and I'm really looking forward to trying all of these out. So the first 2 beers come from the Mast Head Brewing Company out of Cleveland, Ohio. And the first one we have here is their bourbon barrel-aged baseball bat. So they're calling this one a peanut butter jelly stout aged in bourbon barrels. By the way, this is the 2023 release as well. And on the side here, it says this was aged in bourbon barrels for 15 months with raspberries and peanut butter. And this one was canned on November 20th of 2023, so just under 6 weeks old. And, you know, the label and everything, we all remember the Peanut Butter Jelly Time song, and then, you know, Family Guy popularized it, if I could speak. And yeah, that's what the label on this one is. So I have reviewed a handful of beers from Mast Head on the channel, but they've been typically year-round, core range, rotational offerings. This big barrel-aged peanut butter jelly stout. So I'm here for it. I can't wait to get into this one. We're going to see what that one's like. But the next one has me a little bit more excited because it's a part of their Underverse series. So this is their bourbon barrel-aged vanilla Underverse, and this is the 2023 release. This one comes in at 13.9%. I don't know if I mentioned the ABV on this one. I know it said it somewhere, maybe at the bottom. Yeah, it's purple on like a dark brown, 13.2% on this, and this is a 13.9. I can read this much easier because it's black font on white. So yeah, this is super fresh too. I think this came in to Red Wine and Brew like a couple days before I got there. This was canned on December 21st of 2023. I was in the shop on the 29th, so this was 8 days in the can by the time I showed up. That's pretty sick. So yeah, this is their more popular series, their Underverse. They do like a regular barrel age and then a bunch of different variants. I actually have a can, or no, sorry, a bottle of their 2017 or 20, I think it might be 2018. I think it's the 2018 release of this in my cellar that I never drank. Not going to do a side-by-side. I want to survive. Not going to do side-by-side, but maybe we'll review that later this year if I get the whole Viewer's Choice Cellar Sunday out of off the ground and you guys actually vote for it. But yeah, really looking forward to this one. Again, they use, I think, a couple different types of vanilla beans. Yeah, Madagascar and Ugandan vanilla beans. So I'm looking forward to this one for sure. And yeah, so 2 barrel-aged beers from Mast Head. Yeah, sign me up. Anyway, the last 4. They all come from the Jackie O's Pub and Brewery, and they're out of Athens, Ohio. And I have, like I said, 4 different barrel-aged variants from them. Now, let me just say this. I'm super excited about all these beers, but I'm also extremely embarrassed that I have not reviewed a beer from Jackie O's on my channel. I've been drinking Jackie O's stuff since like 2014. I have some beers in the cellar from between 2014 and 2016. I don't know why I've never reviewed any Jackie O's. We don't get distribution of them here in the Buffalo, New York area. We don't get distribution of Mast Head, so maybe that's part of the reason, but I do have some beers in my cellar. So that's on this guy. We're going to change that in 2024. So all 4 of these beers I've heard of, except for this one on the end, and these 3 would, I wouldn't say be on my bucket list specifically, but kind of skirting the line. So the first one is their Vanilla Coffee, a bourbon barrel dark apparition. And this is an imperial stout, aged in bourbon barrels and conditioned on vanilla and coffee beans. This is the 2023 release, and this is 13.2% alcohol by volume. Now, they don't have, as far as I can tell, a bottled on date, but they do have, and you'll see it in the side there, a little silhouette of the state of Ohio. Then they have their logo, and then they have right there, they have the year. So this is the 2023 release for sure. And I looked up on Instagram when they released this one. It looked like they released this one back in the middle of April. So this is just under 9 months old. We're going to get to this one as quickly as we possibly can because, it has coffee in it. It's almost 9 months old. We definitely got to get to it. Now, I've had 2 beers within this Dark Apparition series. I've had the regular base and I've had the bourbon barrel-aged version. And I like the base more than the barrel-aged version. I thought the base was fantastic, but I'm kind of weird. Like, I like a lot of base Imperial Stouts more so than their bourbon barrel-aged counterparts. So that might just be a personal preference, like most things, beer is subjective and whatnot. But never had any of the variants. This excites me. Vanilla coffee, much like this beer over here, I think the combination just works wonders. So the next one is a beer that I've been wanting to try since probably like 2016 as well. This is Jackie O's again, and this is their bourbon barrel, a black maple, and this is the 2023 release. This is Imperial Porter, brewed with maple syrup and aged in bourbon barrels. This one comes in at 12.6% alcohol by volume, like I said, the 2023 release. I looked on their Instagram. This one was released in early July, just after July 4th, so you're talking about almost 6 months old, and yeah. So again, the aforementioned Johnny, he reviewed this one on his channel, I think back in 2015 or 16, and ever since then, I've wanted to try this one. And I just love, again, maple in beers just like this Prairie, and it just sounds good. Plus, it's an Imperial Porter. I'm be curious to see how the body is in comparison to their stouts here. So, yeah, really looking forward to that one. The next one is a bucket list beer, if I had one, and it is their Champion Ground. This is also the 2023 release. This is a bourbon barrel aged stout with coffee added. Comes in at 13.1% alcohol by volume. This is the 2023 release, like I said, and this one was released on the same day as this, so around 6 months old. And yeah, so this is another one that Johnny reviewed many years ago, and I think he reviewed this one like 2014 or 15, and he was saying how he thought this was one of the best barrel aged coffee imperial stouts that he ever had. And I never got a chance to try it, so that's in the back of my brain piece. Things like that, like remembering people reviewing beers and speaking highly or negatively about them. This beer, these two over here, this series specifically, just knowing what Johnny thought about back then, and I aligned with his palate a lot. So remembering what he thought about him and thinking about him now, I'm just like, yeah, I'm really going to enjoy these beers, or I should. I'm going to enjoy the chance to try them at the very least. So the final beer is one that I had no plans to grab because I didn't even see it on the shelf. And shout out to Zach over at Premium Beverage Supply. I think that is like a distributor in Columbus, Ohio. When I was at Red Wine and Brew, they were doing a tasting with, believe it or not, Fifth Frame out of Rochester, New York. They're actually getting into Ohio. So the co-owner, John, of Fifth Frame was there. Zach was there. And we were chatting it up for a bit. And Zach, I asked him specifically, because I saw these three, and then they had another maybe half dozen Jackie O's beers. I was like, do you have any opinion on what other Jackie O beer I should buy? And he was like, hang on. And he brought this to me, and he's like, this is delicious, and I think you'll enjoy it. So this is their Temple of Minerva, and this is the 2023 release, and this is a blend of Imperial Stouts aged for 23 months in bourbon barrels, 13.2%. This is the 2023 release, and this is the freshest of the bunch. This one was released back in the middle of August. Yeah, I think this is a really nice label, really simplistic but nice, and I cannot wait to get into this one. In the barrels for almost 2 years. Nothing going on, just an Imperial Stout, looks like blended, but for 2 years, that is insane to me, and I cannot wait to try this one out. Like I said, never heard of this beer, and then when I was checking out on Instagram, they also had a double barrel variant, which they did not have at Red Wine and Brew, but whatever, I'm going to enjoy that one. So, 4 Jackie O's beers, 2 Mast Heads, some 3 non-Ohio-based breweries, and a bucket list beer in Daybreak, which is just a coffee vanilla cream ale. I appreciate all the support from my Ohio viewers. I'd sit here and list you all, but you know who you are, and you know, we have some good conversations about Ohio-based beers. And I think I did a pretty good job here. Like I said, if I had room for another 5 to 10 beers, I would have got a lot more Ohio beers. But with this selection, I just had to go barrel aged heavy, knowing that I can wait a month or 2 to review these. It's not going to be a big deal. I obviously had to pick up this. And then these 3 were like, yeah, I know they're not from Ohio, but we don't get distro of a couple of them. And this one, I just want to make sure I didn't miss out. So what do you guys think about these beers, especially if you've had any of these before or any prior variants? Which beer am I looking forward to the most? Can I just say it's a cop-out and just say all of them? Yeah, I think I'm going to do that because can't really choose. I'm just happy that I was able to grab some stuff. I will say this was quite expensive, though. These 10 beers, after tax and everything, came out to about 112 bucks, so an average of $12 a beer. Now, it makes sense when you know that 7 of them are barrel-aged beers, and all of them were over 12 bucks. But when you take into account this was $3.60, or take into consideration this was $3.60, and this was like $2, yeah, this one was the most expensive, $16. So yeah, I'm going to shut this one down. I appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer haul video. Really looking forward to all of these beers. I will say this will probably be the first I review because it is the only hop forward beer I got, and I got to get into it. So like I said, post a comment section what you're looking forward to the most in terms of me reviewing this. What is your favorite if you've had any of these? And I appreciate it. Till the next one. Cheers.